Hey guys!
Hey guys!
I'm Melissa.
I'm Patty.
And we are
El Efecto Podcast.
As you can see, we have a little different setup today.
Yeah, we're like, we want the cozy vibes.
Yeah.
We're just like, fuck it. And also, the real reason is that our other ring light, the battery died, and I don't have the charger. So we have natural light right now, so we're just gonna take advantage of it.
Yes. But yeah, guys, welcome back.
Yes.
Episode 15.
15. I feel like that's like a milestone. I feel like 10 was a milestone. 15.
It's like
Yeah, like.
Yeah. And I'm like, I guess it's a new beginning if you see our last episode. If you saw our last episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. So
Bitch, you know what I just realized? From last week's episode, we never talked about the podcast being a new beginning for us.
Wait, that's true.
It's okay.
Well, it is.
It is, yeah. And you're all part of it.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, guys, so welcome back.
Yes,
we hope you
welcome
enjoyed the last episode. Definitely was something that we wanted to just talk about and bring up, but
yeah, it was super prevalent. It's very prevalent in both of our lives. Like, we're literally going through it, so it's like, might as well talk about what we're going through currently and like how we're feeling.
Yeah, and then just going into today's episode. So today's episode, we're just honestly, guys, we're just gonna get right to it. But this week's episode, it's definitely going to be something that's like very personal, and I'm sure that it's going to be something that a lot of you guys are going to relate to. But it's just something that has been in my mind for a while, and it's something that I've struggled with for a long time, and then I'm still struggling with. So it's just about, loving yourself and just like everything.
Like self-love. Like, what does that mean? How do you practice it?
Mm-hmm.
If it's a struggle, why is it a struggle?
Yeah. Our experience, our struggles.
Yeah, we're gonna get very intimate.
Yeah.
Like, we're definitely gonna just like be very vulnerable. That's the word I was looking for. And guys, like, this is a topic that since day one, like, we've both had listed on like topics we want to talk about, but like we've been holding off. And we just had lunch, and I told Melly, I was like, bitch, I have so many topics that are like deep, and I literally am like, I'm waiting for you to give me the green light.
Yeah, so like when I sent her this one, she's like, oh, perfect, like check, and I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to talk about. I think I'm ready. Again, because it's just, I struggle with it a lot.
And it's something we deal with every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a thing. Like, I think we should start there. Like, what does self-love mean? Actually, let's backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does self-love mean to you? And then today, in this moment, can you answer the question, like, do you love yourself? Or how much do you love yourself?
I'm like, oh my gosh. But, I mean, self-love, I think, to me, just means, like, obviously loving yourself, but being confident, knowing your worth, and valuing yourself, your worth, knowing that, like, you are the price, and that people are lucky to have you in their life, and that you should know that, people are lucky to have you. But I think, to your question, like, have you learned, do you love yourself? Honestly, not there yet. Like, there's a difference between, I feel like people can say that there's days where I come off like confident, and I can be confident, but it's like that there's a difference. I have my days where I'm like, oh, I look good today, with confidence, or like I feel good. But loving myself is something that I struggle with every single day. And that's obviously like a goal of mine, and it's something that I wish I will one day have. And I know it can happen, and it will happen, because we've said this a lot of times between Patty and I, but it's like, no, like, if you don't love yourself, like, no one, like,
can't nobody love nobody that do not love themselves.
Literally.
Kaylani.
Literally. So it's like, I need to love myself in order for me to be able to let someone else in, let someone love me. But yeah, that was a hard question. I don't think I love myself. Again, there's a difference, but I'm not there yet. Yeah.
First of all, thank you for even saying that, because I know it's not an easy topic. And then for me, like, what does loving yourself mean? Basically the same thing that Melly said, but an emphasis on like being unapologetically you, and again, like, knowing your worth, and understanding that regardless of your situation, you bring something to the table. It doesn't matter what. And I feel like a lot of times loving yourself, it's like you have to be your own hype person. Like, a lot of people, we look for validation outside of ourselves, but self-love to me is like you kind of fill your own glass. Like, you remind yourself that you're that bitch because you are that bitch. You, like, again, like, you take care of yourself, you speak to yourself kindly, you treat yourself,
you do things for you,
and not just like buying yourself nice things, but like, if you're stressed, like, doing something for yourself, whether it's going for a run, going to get a massage, getting your nails done, getting a facial, going to the gym, like, doing things
taking yourself on a date,
like, doing things that make you feel good about yourself, and there's nothing wrong about that. And then to answer the question, like, do I love myself, or how much do I love myself? I don't want to say like flat out no. I will say it's not 100% yes. I definitely think it's a process. And when you said that is a goal of mine, I don't think that loving myself is like a destination. I don't think it's gonna be like one day I'm like, oh my gosh, I love myself and I'm never ever gonna not feel like I'm not worthy or anything. I think it's like it's a process, and there's gonna be ebbs and flows. Like, it's not linear. It's like fluid. So I think there's gonna be days. I definitely will say I'm working towards it. I'm definitely light years ahead of where I was 2 years ago, last year, 3 years ago. But I think also it just comes with like growing up and maturing. Like, as you get older, there's just things that are like, I don't care for that. So like your opinion doesn't matter to me in some cases. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at. Like, it's not 100%. It's not 100% yes. It's not 100% no. I'm kind of like, I'm working on it.
And bitch, I love that you brought that up, because I've been there with you through this journey, and it's like I've seen so much like progress, and how you mentioned like you should be proud of yourself.
The first thing I think about is like, this is like something small, but like the way I dress today, bitch, I would never like 3 years ago. Like, even with just like bitch, even what I wore when I got here earlier, I'm cozy now, but like
no, 100%. So thank you for sharing that. And then I think that's true. Like, it's like, as like you get older, and just like the experiences that you go through, I think that's what this year, I mean, I've said it a million times, but this year was like the year that I'm like, okay, I need to focus on myself. And I think that's a big step for me to work towards that. So many times I just think about like, I mean, like, you guys know I don't like being vulnerable and whatever, but it's like, I feel like it all kind of ties in, because it's like, I don't put myself first. I don't think about myself. So there's certain situations that have happened that kind of make me like, well, like, this happened, so, why, like, I don't know. It just, like, if that makes sense. But it's just, my experiences have put a hold on me, or like kind of like that wall, and have made it a little bit harder for me to be like, you are worthy, you are valuable. Like,
and it is hard because, again, the whole point of our podcast, El Efecto, we are the way we are because of shit we've been through, and that shit takes a toll on you. Everything that we have gone through has made us the person we are today, and there is a reason why sometimes it's not like the best feeling when you're going through that, like, the shitty parts of life. But then you get to like this point now where you're like at a turning point, and you're like, okay, something's gonna happen. Like, I'm making a change for myself. And bitch, that is an example of self-love. Like, in my opinion, again, why? Because you're putting yourself first, and even like defending yourself, like, that is self-love. Like, not letting people, and again, growing up in a Latino household, it's like, especially when you're the child and you have elders, whether it's your parents, aunts, uncles, you're not like, whatever they can say anything to you, and the expectation is that you do not say shit back. And they be coming at you with some sideways ass comments.
100%. Yeah, and I think it goes back to that too. Like, in the Latino community, growing up, you're always like, Latinos just think they have the right to like tell you whatever, no matter who they are. Like, I feel like that's just like in our culture. Like, ay, ya te estás pasando, ya estás un poco más gordita, ya no comas esto, no comas, like, whatever, and like, or like, oh, la gorda, or something,
Or even about like,
did you see what she was wearing?
They
oh
always
God, like
they always worry about other people.
Yeah. And it's like, I think also that always like takes a toll obviously on like us, and we were just talking like earlier like about the expectations of like women like nowadays, like with social media and everything, like there's like a standard that like everyone's like, oh, like this a person should look like this.
Yeah, I feel like
you know?
it's been like that forever. When we were talking about that, it literally is because just the way in the world that women are seen as second-class citizens, and everything that women do, somehow they always tie it back to men. So if you really think about like why there's these beauty standards for women, but it's not the same for men, because a man can look like whatever he wants and he can still be seen as like a successful person. But like if a woman is successful and she doesn't look the best, or like not what someone thinks is the best, they have a comment. Or if she's a bomb ass bitch and she's a boss, they make things like she probably like fucked somebody to get there. But they would never say anything about a guy about that.
And like guys, like right now that she said that, and I've told her before, I don't remember if I brought it up here, but I'm never gonna forget when I was interning, my boss was like, oh, I trust you to take this call. And then the first thing this man, older man, obviously he was successful, he said, oh, you're much more than just a pretty face. And then it like goes back to that too, and that kind of like, okay, like you know, like him saying like, oh, you're pretty, but like you're not smart. That took a toll on you too, because like what the fuck, like it's not just about my looks, like, you know. And it like goes, it reminded me of that. I'm just like, no, like it's crazy, because again, it's like they're like, oh, like there's this standard, they're like, oh, she can't do that, she can't, like,
not even a standard, but there's just people have these like, again, we've talked about it, misconceptions about women and stuff, and it honestly just eats away at you. And even if someone doesn't tell you directly like things to you, even just witnessing things, like when, like again, we were talking earlier and I mentioned like no one has directly told me like in my family like you need to look like this, or you need to lose weight, you need to gain weight, blah blah blah. But just hearing conversations about like my cousins, my tias making comments about other people or even other family members in front of me. I remember being little and literally the tias just be chismeando, talking shit, because that's what it is, criticando other people, just the way they look. And me in my head being little, like, okay, so that's not a good thing to look like that. They didn't flat out say it's not good to look like that. I'm like, okay, noted. But then also like me questioning like, so how are, like, you're saying that this looks bad, but you look just like that. And like that shit really does like impact you. And then subconsciously as you get older, and it leads to like other things. I don't know if we want to get to that. Just like
well, and then I mean like that to like her point, I'm like, I've had people come to me directly telling me like stuff like this, and then it's like also them knowing, like, guys, I'll say it, like I like struggle, like I'm sure many of us, but I've struggled with an eating disorder like my whole life. There was a point where it was really, really extreme and it was bad. It was the tiniest I've ever been, and obviously people were used to seeing me at that, like a size 0, size 1, size 2, like, you know, insane. So it's like, as I went to college, I started obviously, growing up, maturing. Like I had gained some weight. There was a point I was like my heaviest, lost them. It's, again, it's just been up and down, but it's like, because I had this idea of what I looked like at that time, like to them, it was like, oh, she's like good. She's finally, you know, like it was skinny, but all the shit that I went through, my like eating habits, what I was doing, like, you know, it was and again, bad.
No one really knew.
And then they would just see, and like there's like a lot like behind the scenes, and it's like, again, it comes to that, like no one really knows what someone is going through, or even if they knew, like, you know, there was a point, because my mom had to take me to the doctor, they had to like, oh, you need shots to like whatever it is, and it's like if they knew that I was struggling with that, but making still comments here and there, or just
that's
within
the
thing. Household too, like, it's, you know,
they probably knew physically that something was wrong, but because to them, they don't, like, I'm saying they, the Latino community, it's not a thing, like, oh, why, like, that's in your head, like, no one's telling you not to do this, not to do that. But going off of that, like, I've also had an eating disorder from, like, think it started when I was in 7th grade, and it went all through, I think, till like my senior, till maybe like my senior year of high school. So literally 7 years of, and I was literally malnourished, like,
yeah.
And it started because I lost so much weight from like cheerleading and dancing and all that stuff. And then at that point, like, I was eating whatever I wanted. But then, like, if I knew, like, I had something coming up, I would just, like, not eat for a period of time. And then be, like, drop, like, pounds like that. And then move on with my life. And it was like that from literally 7th grade until I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And no one in my family knows that.
Yeah.
Now, surprise, motherfuckers,
yeah.
you know. But,
literally.
But, yeah, and I think also it's just been different because, like you said, like, people were directly telling you, and like Melly has always been smaller than me, and I would always be like, if they're telling you that, like, what are they saying about me behind my back, or like what I look like? And that's, again, no one was directly telling me anything, but that shit like ate at me.
Yeah.
And I think I would always tell you that.
Yeah.
And even when I remember when you went to college and you came back and you would like tell me, I'm the one that was telling you, like, bitch, the reason that I always tell her, I'm like, bitch, you were pubescent. Like, that body was pubescent. You are a woman now.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, you grew the fuck up. You have curves.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be. And I feel like I kind of like, in my way, I had to like shake you and be like, bitch, I'm sorry, but you are never gonna be like that because that bitch was sick.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never gonna be how I was before because that bitch was sick. Literally, babe.
Literally.
We were mental illness. We were sick.
Yeah. No, and 100%. And it's like, it never, like, I mean, I've like made a lot of progress, but you never know what's gonna trigger it because it's like, it's still there. I still struggle with it daily. Like, or me, like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't do this. And it's like, I've made a lot of progress, and I'm like, you know, eat it, treat yourself, it's okay. But then there could be the next day, like, some, like, you know, something's mentioned, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I go into like this like whole like back to my old habits. But then what I've noticed now is, at least now I'm aware of it, or I'm like, oh shit, this just triggered it. Okay, like, even though I want to do it or fall into old habits, I'm like, just don't do it. Like, you've made so much progress, like, don't do it. And I know this is something that so many people close to me struggle with, like, you know. And it's obviously even after COVID, majority of the people, like, yeah, like, a lot of people gained weight. It's stress, eating, like, everything, like, and it's, I've seen so many videos of like, oh my god, how do I lose this COVID weight? Oh my god, I'm never gonna be like the way I was before. Like, and it's hard. So that's why I was like, it was just something too that I was talking to recently to a friend. I was like, this is something we should talk about, because a lot of people are probably struggling with this, have struggled with this. And yeah, it's something very real, and it's hard.
Yeah, but, and it's, I think in order to like, we have to change the conversation around that. It's literally just like a perspective change. Like, instead of being like, why is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
Like, okay, embrace it. Like, turn this so-called negative into a positive. And there are days when literally, like, I will feel like disgusting and I don't want to go anywhere. She'll be like, bitch, we're going here, and I'll be like, I'm not going because I have nothing to wear.
Yeah.
She's like, wear this and this. I'm like, bitch,
yeah.
no. Like, and it'll literally be like a fight, and I'm like, bitch, I'm not going.
Yeah.
Horrible. Literally, and then I'll kind of sit in it and be like, okay, like, why am I feeling this way? I'll kind of get like a pep talk from Alanis, my go-to, and I'll kind of clear my mind. And then I noticed when I do things for myself and show myself self-love, for my thing is the gym. And it's more so because I realize how much it clears my mind, and I've literally seen a difference when I'm consistently in the gym. Like, my mood is better, my negative thoughts are just not in my head, I don't second guess myself, I remind myself that I am that bitch. Like, I always tell myself, like, bitch, and whenever I'm in the sauna, I'm like, you should be so proud of yourself for showing up for you. I'm not in the gym trying to look good for someone else. I'm in the gym I think in the beginning the gym was like, oh, I just hate, literally I was like, I hate feeling like I'm not enough anymore. So I need to like get in the gym. And now the gym is like, oh, I get to go to the gym. Like I feel so good. And I think I'm more excited with like the endorphins I get and like how productive and like how much my life has changed from that versus like worrying about like, oh my God, like, did I lose this many inches? Oh my God, does that still fit me? And naturally, like, that's just a plus now.
Yeah.
Like, when I try things on, I'm like,
period.
Why the fuck is this big on me?
Yeah. No, and again, that's a huge step, you know? And that's, again, something that I need to work towards. And then I think there's a time, like how you were saying, like, the gym has become, like, for you. You know, like, you're literally doing it for yourself. And I think there is a time that I was, like, getting obsessive for, like, over working out and, like, doing all this, but I was still, like, malnourishing myself. And it was mainly because I was like, oh, damn, I need to lose this weight. I need to be skinny. So I was, like, doing whatever I could. But that was, like, the gym to me. It was just, go run, go do this, because you got to lose weight. You got to lose weight. You got to lose weight. That's, like, my mind to myself, like, most of the time for years until probably last year. Like, you know, until last year it was like, no, you're okay. Like, and it is what it is now, you know? So yeah, again, you should be proud of that because that takes a lot.
Bitch, but you should also be proud because the fact that you're even self-aware now, and guys, it's been a long journey, like, with this, but bitch, you should be so proud. Like, I don't think you realize, or maybe, I hope you realize, like, how much, like, growth in literally, like, however many months in that year, whatever, that you have made to get to this point.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, if we, like, think back, like, where would, like, high school Melly, where would high school Patty be today if we were still like that? Yeah. Bitch, I would not have gotten that promotion. Bitch, honestly, I don't know what the fuck I would be doing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'm like, literally, because our minds were just so obsessed with, like, that.
Yeah.
It's like doing everything. They're like, I know for me, taking out these teas, doing this, like, it's like, it was insane.
Yeah, and also, I've also been more conscious about, like, the people around me and what I'm consuming. So, like, I feel like that's been a trend we've been talking about in our last couple of videos. Like, literally the people around you. If you're around people that are obsessing over, like, just super nitpicky on, like, oh my God, like, I gained 2 pounds or, like, this and that, like, that can, and especially for, like, me, like, I've made it very known to friends and things. I'm like, when you talk about certain things, I'm like, that triggers me. So just be aware, like, and sometimes I will just be like, FYI, like, that triggered me. And I tell them, we were like, oh shit, like, I didn't realize.
Yeah. Even to me. Like,
oh yeah, I tell you all the time. But I've also been more mindful because social media, like, it's at our fingertips. Yeah. I've unfollowed a lot of people that, like, society has claimed to be, like, the beauty standard. And I'm so grateful that, like, with the internet, so many different types of people, so many different shapes, body types, colors, everything are, like, getting platforms. And one thing that helps me, like, I started following people that, like, I kind of identify with. Maybe we're not the exact same body type. Maybe they're a little bigger. Maybe they're a little smaller. But just being different from, like, a standard, like, Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, Kardashian. And also, like, I literally said this earlier. The, like, bodies are a trend. Like, literally a few years ago, for a few years, Kardashian bodies were, like, everything. The BBL, big butts, everything. All those bitches literally got their BBLs reversed. And they're literally going back to super, super skinny how it was in the 2000s. And to me, I said this too, I was like, that is so, like, scary because that obviously that impacted us because we grew up in that time when, like, Paris Hilton, that Olsen twins, Lindsay Lohan, everyone was, like, super, super skinny and, like, eating disorders. Not that they were glamorized, but they kind of were. Yeah. So that was kind of, like, always in our face.
Like the cigarette diets, that, like, it's crazy.
Oh my God, bitch. The cigarette diets. Oh my God.
Diets, and then there was a point, I remember, like, a wine diet. And it's literally you're drinking wine all day and cigarettes, and then, like, you have, like, a piece of steak or, like, the military diets. But yeah, like, all of these things, and you can find them all on Pinterest, on social media. Like, I remember, like, it was insane. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, something, guys, that we just wanted to bring up. And I think how Patty said, there's so many different ways to just show yourself self-love and what self-love means to you. So whether, it's reading a book, doing, again, something for yourself, yeah, I think it's just something that I'm sure all of us are working towards or have to work on. But
yeah, and also don't get fooled by pulling social media back in, because social media is not real. Like, it's very curated. Like, you post whatever the fuck you want. Like, not a lot of people, some people will use their social media to like bring awareness to shit, but a lot of people just put on social media like things that make them happier. Like, they capture a moment in time that is like fun and exciting, because for them it's like a memory. But like, if you're on the other end consuming it, you could think like, oh my god, this person, like, their life is amazing, I want to be like them, blah blah, and you're like self-deprecating and just like not really like helping yourself. It is difficult because it's something that unfortunately it's like normal in our society now. But yeah, just being mindful of that and just understanding, like, if truly, in order to like love yourself, I feel like it comes with work. It's not something that you can just like do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and then I had a train of thought. That's why I was like, oh, no, because when she was talking about social media and just like the people that she's now following, that's one thing, that I like, because I mean, I still follow like the Kardashians, do all this, and a lot of it I do it because I love fashion and like I follow those, but it still impacts you. So what I've done, because I remember she mentioned that to me, just following people who may seem more authentic and more real, whether I watch them on YouTube or something. Again, it's social media. You don't really know what's real, what's not. But it's like, even just like noticing those differences from like them, I see them as like real people, and this is what they're going through, where you have like influencers and celebrities like the Kardashians. So it just reminded me, like, that's true. That's a step, like, just following people that seem more authentic. Yeah.
Just to kind of go off of that, like, there's so many different ways to show yourself self-love, and I think setting boundaries is something that is a huge step in showing self-love. And I have been, I think, forever unknowingly setting boundaries with just like if someone says something, I'm gonna defend myself. Like, you're not gonna overstep that. And now, as I'm older and it's become more of a common topic, I understand that those are boundaries I've set, and I'm way more aware of like, you're not gonna cross that. And I think that's something that with you, I was like, bitch, you do not. How many times have I in the past I would tell you like, bitch, stop letting people walk all over you. Like, you'll give in, and I have no problem being like, no. And they're like, oh shit, when Patty says no, that means no. But if back then, if Melly said no, it doesn't really mean no. People pleasing. But bitch, now you're like, no, these are my boundaries, and it is what it is.
And then it comes down to that, like, self-love. It's just like, because I'm like, last year was just, I'm fucking done with this. Like if I'm not happy, and again, it's like, I'm not happy, what's the purpose?
Yeah, what's the point? It's at the end of the day,
it's life.
Your life, and I'm not living my life for someone else. At the end of the day, it's your life, it's my life. Like, my happiness does not and should not depend on someone else. Like, it shouldn't impact you. Like, if I'm happy, like, why does that bother you, unless it's like causing actual harm? But like, if you're happy about something, just because that maybe that's not how I would approach it, or that's not right for me, but if it's right for you and it doesn't cause anyone harm, like, who cares? Like, there are family members that's like, if you want to do something a certain way, it literally irks the shit out of them. But at the end of the day, it's like,
it's my life, your life.
Just because it's something different than like what you're used to or whatever. But yeah, at the end of the day, you just gotta look out for yourself. And our community is not like that. Like, Latinos are very much about looking out for each other. At least that's what they claim. Like, oh, la familia. The amount of times that they care more about what other people say than the people under their fucking roof, like, it's insane to me. Like, and I think that's also why I struggle with self-love, just because of like how I see like I've seen family members interact with each other and just hear things, and I'm like if people that should be caring about me are making decisions that obviously negate that, like how do you think that's gonna make me feel?
Yeah.
Or like impact my mindset?
Yeah, I mean, and I have so many like friends and a lot of you that are listening right now that you're gonna be like, OJ, yeah. Like it's literally that. Like we're so worried about what our family is gonna like tell us, and just like at the end of, like we know it's our life, but we still know like, oh, they're gonna say all this shit, or what is my mom gonna say? Like, but it's like I've talked to so many of you that you're like, dude, but they pretty much just care because of the same thing. They're thinking about what other people on the outside. Yeah.
Bitch, I don't give a fuck. I always tell my mom, I'm like, they are not paying your bills. Like, why are you bothered? You're more upset because you know that so-and-so is going to go tell so-and-so, and then they're going to have this perception. I don't care.
Yeah.
Have that perception. Like, again, we've talked about my perception is that I'm a certain way, but there's very, very few people that truly know how I am, and this being like she's like the main person that truly knows who I am. And honestly, I'm like, I know who I am. I know my intentions are pure, and that's it. Like, if you don't think that, that's a you problem, not my problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. I don't like that could even come off the wrong way. But bitch, how many times do I say to you, like, bitch, I feel bad? I always tell Lennis, I feel bad. She's like, for what?
Yeah.
She's like, for what? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like I really only say it to like you guys, and I'm like, damn, like, no, bitch, I feel bad. Even if I didn't do anything, I'm like, I feel bad. You're like, bitch, what do you got? You have nothing to feel bad about.
There's no reason for that. But again, I think because we also like care too hard, so it's like if those around us, like if we think in our head like, oh, it's impacting them, but it's like, okay, but we also need to put ourselves first.
Yeah.
And if it's impacting me more than them, then it's like, when are you going to make the move to be selfish for yourself? Because again, at the end of the day, it's your life, and that's a form of self-love. And it's like, until you do that, and set those boundaries or whatever it is, it's like, be selfish. Like, and it takes a lot, but
it takes a lot.
Yeah.
But then I feel like once you're selfish or setting those boundaries, people will start to like understand. I know in the beginning when you would set boundaries, you'd be like, bitch, like this and this or this and that. I don't stop getting blown up, and I'm like, put your fucking foot down.
Yeah.
They're gonna get used to it.
Right. I was like, put red receipts on. Make sure
literally, like you have to like. Unfortunately, you have to teach people how to treat you, and we're not taught that in our like community. I think that's why it's so important now that we're so aware to like teach the next generation, like our future kids, our little cousins and stuff. Like, we gotta fucking stop with this generational trauma.
Yeah, and again, it goes to like those boundaries, because it's like she just mentioned, I'm like, those people were getting mad at me or getting angry, but it's like, why are you getting mad?
Yeah, I'm
like,
not
they should
sorry.
be supporting you if they're really caring for you. They're like, oh, she's not feeling it, or there's a reason why, like,
So that's what I was gonna say. My mindset, if she is like, oh, I don't want to go, my immediate mindset isn't like, oh my god, like she's ruining my plans. My first thought is, okay, something's wrong. Yeah. And I'll be like, bitch, you good? Not everyone thinks that way. Or people will be like, oh, whatever, like, we don't want people if they're not gonna have a good time, like, whatever. But
but it's like, why are you mad? Like, instead be like, oh, okay, there's a reason, or right, she doesn't want to go, like,
and then people are like, well, I didn't know, obviously, like, how would you know?
Or but like just
empathize.
Think about it.
Be more self-aware. It's not easy. It's not easy. But yeah, so what are like some examples of things that you've done like as of lately to like practice self-love?
I think one is just like if I'm like feeling like, okay, I just want to get out of the house, like get out of the house. Lately I've just been honestly like being like sitting in the back with my dog and just either playing with him, getting some vitamin D, sitting in the front and just like getting some air. Like, I love waking up in the morning, going outside and just getting air, like during my lunch, whatever. Like something so simple as that, like literally just standing there in the sun or playing with my dog. that's one thing. Another thing, it's like now, like it's like literally like if I'm like I'm gonna grab my keys and go for like a drive, like it's like that's it, like I haven't the ocean, it's always something to us, like, and so special to us. I haven't gone lately, but I literally was telling myself that this week I'm like it's finally gonna get nice out, like I've been missing that, I need that. But yeah, I think that's like one main thing, and then just like you said, like putting my boundaries, saying no, staying home more, and it's honestly like I love it. And yeah, and I think also just like just doing things for me, like if I don't know, because again guys, like before I would just be like, oh, let me just go because this thing, or like no, it's like now I'm doing it for me. If I want to go, I'll go. If I want to like do whatever I have to do, like and the other thing is just focusing a lot on my business. Like it's like that's what's making me happy right now.
And again,
like,
because that's for you.
And it's like putting that effort in, and I generally like enjoy it. So I think that's what I've been doing as of lately.
Yeah. And then for me, obviously it's the gym. Like, one, just to get out of the house, like to just go somewhere. And also what I really love about the gym is like, not only am I able to clear my mind, but I'm physically working on myself and like on my health at the same time, like, which is a plus. So like definitely the gym. Also just like trying to consume more positive vibes, whether it's like I follow a lot of like positive affirmations and stuff like that, or like buying things that project that. Like I literally have, this is like an Event XO sweatshirt, and it literally says love yourself more. Yeah. And I literally bought that and I was like, I'm gonna keep that. Like that is like part of my journey right now. That is like so me. Yeah. I need this in my life. So doing that, reading, I love reading, and I've been doing that a lot more. And also just being very, I guess, selective with like my circle.
Yeah.
And like who has access to me. And again, like boundaries are a big part of that. And I've never had an issue saying no ever. Like if I don't want to do something, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, and then right now that you had mentioned like buying stuff like for you that reflects like those positive vibes, guys, one thing actually I like forgot, my night routine right now is like so sacred to me. I like take a body shower, whatever, like do what I have to do, and then I'm like in my room in my PJs, I turn on my humidifier, I have some music, like calming music, and I get some work done. But it's like that little, like at that end of the night, I'm like, oh, I love it. Like that's been what's
and that
making me so happy. Literally, like every night. Like
that's a really good. That's actually a really good example of how simple self-love could be. Mm-hmm. Or even sometimes like if I do something like, oh good, like whenever I have my to-do list, every time I check something off, I'm like, good job, bitch. Yeah. You at least did one thing. And that's it. And I always like, another thing, like you mentioned going for a drive. My driving time when I'm driving alone is sacred to me. Like I rarely drive in silence because music is one of my passions, and like I have a full on like world tour, like Beyonce who. Yeah. Just kidding. But like I love that, and that for me that is self-love.
Yeah. Even like I love coffee, so I go to different coffee shops. That's also like to me, if I'm working from home Mondays or Fridays or whatever, I'm like, I'm gonna go to this coffee shop, I'm gonna go here, and like I love it. I get work done. I try new coffee because I just love coffee, and I'm just like the vibes. Like I've met some people, and I'm just like people watching, but yeah, like something as little as that, but. Yeah, no, like the Beyonce, I'm like, yeah, guys, just literally music, like getting in your zone, and how she said the people that you surround yourself with,
And again, it's not like, and just to go back to like the first question, like, do you love yourself, or like how much do you love yourself? My answer was like, I'm not 100% on either side. I'm kind of like working on it, and those are like, that's like how I'm working on it, like. And again, like it's a process. There's days where I feel so good, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. And then there's days where I get triggered, or I just wake up feeling sad and like depressed, and then I'm in like this hole. But then I just remember it's like I'm having a bad day. I don't have a bad life. Yeah. And again, perspective. Like that is I'm gonna say that forever. Like, that is like one of my buzzwords. It's like unapologetically me and perspective and boundaries. So I feel like those are my three.
Yeah.
I feel like I tell you perspective and boundaries like all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is like how I'm like working towards that. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Like it's the amount of times I'm like crying because I might have done something that like I needed to do for myself, whether it was like defend myself, but then like behind closed doors I'll fucking break down because of how much energy that took out. And I will sit and be like, damn, I'm really out here fighting for some fucking respect that should be given to me, but it's just not, because the person on the other end thinks that they're whoever they are is above who I am.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
No, literally. It's insane. But again, it comes down to like right now when she was saying perspective, and it's true, because I think that's why this year it's been the huge progress in like my life to like self-love and leading me there, because I came into the year with a fresh perspective, like, and just like, this is for you, finally do that. So yeah, perspective is huge. And then I think one thing we were talking about, it just clicked, but I lost my train of thought, but it was about like surrounding yourself but with people, but I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, and then I think just another thing that with like self-love, again, before I was constantly just like going out when people were telling me whatever, but even now, guys, I isolate myself a lot from like pretty much the only person I don't is from like Patty, and when I do, there's days where I do too, but that's like my form to myself of self-love. It's like I'm just like in my own little bubble. There's days I go days without texting people, or just honestly there's one group chat, like that's it. And I know I've noticed that I'm like literally like I'm like, damn, who have I talked to? I'm like, I've talked to no one except for Patty and Daniela, like in the group chat. Like it's like, and that's just like I'm just isolating myself. For me, it's not that I don't like care about the person around me. It's just like, you know, sometimes again you get into that mindset where I'm just like trying to like clear my head, but it's just, yeah, that's been one thing for me that I've noticed, that I've just like isolated myself, but it's made me like happy. Like I don't know, it's weird, but yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything. Okay, so we're gonna change the conversation. It's not weird, because weird always gives the connotation that it's like unusual or like the other. No, that's a good thing. Like, because you should feel good about that. Like,
just being on my own with my own presence with my dog.
No,
that's
literally,
what makes me happy.
Literally. But yeah, definitely, like, also just like, again, we've talked about how energy is just so contagious. Like, if you're not, and we talked about this in our, I think it was in the New Beginnings one, but we've talked about this, like, your circle, like, when you have people that are in a certain space that, like, they're on the same level that you're at, and your priorities are in line, you're gonna gravitate towards those people naturally.
And I think in our friend group, I've noticed that a lot. Like, we've all haven't like seen each other quite often just in certain things, because we're all literally in our zone, in our own little world. So I think that's also what's like helped to that, like just being me, focusing on myself and just being on my own. Because yeah, before we were constantly like out or doing this, like always. So this year, like, yeah, we don't like see each other as often, but when we do, it's great. And it's just, we're all in our own zone.
We're literally we all got shit to do.
Yeah.
Like at the same time.
Literally. Yeah. I think another thing, I'm just going into that, like, one thing that I guess I have been doing this, and it's a form of self-love, it's just like reflecting on your past. Like, it's like just reflecting on my past. And it's like, okay, so like what happened, then why did that happen, where was my headspace, whatever, and using that to help me with like this year or like a new beginning. That's another thing that I think about. Like, I know a lot of the times I'm someone who am just like, oh, I just gotta move on, like it is what it is. And I have moved on from a lot of like things or certain situations, but it's like I've also like reflected, which I think is very important, because you got to figure out like, all right, again, like why, okay, what am I going to do now that's going to help me change that, or like, yeah. But Yeah, I think that's, I was thinking that right now. Like,
Which I'm so proud because
reflecting.
y'all don't fucking know the amount of fucking times I've been telling this bitch that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just last year, bitch, for years.
For years.
And the fact that, like, I always tell you, I'm like, you see how much, like, growth and, like, happier and more, like, bitch, honestly, I feel like there's more peace.
Oh, yeah.
Peace of mind, peace just around people.
Yeah.
Like, in your life when you do that. And it is scary. It is scary, especially when you're so used to certain things. And, like, again, what are people going to say? Like, how are they going to react? People's reactions, that's it. Like, that's their reaction.
And a lot of the times, I feel like that's in the moment. Like, the reactions are in the moment. And again, it's like if the person is truly meant to be in your life and is, like, you know, important or they really care about you, they're going to, okay, yeah, maybe they're upset in the moment, but they're going to be like, oh shit, okay, and realize it. And then you have a conversation, whatever, move on. And if that person doesn't agree or it doesn't happen, then okay, it is like, will it hurt? Maybe, but it is what it is, and they're not meant to be in your life. So, you know, yeah.
Before I forget, I just want to say, like, it took a lot for us to, like, sit here and, like, want to talk about it, but we understand the, like, impact this could have. And again, it's real, and we struggle with this shit every day. Like, this, it's not like, again, like, you get this to this place and it's like, oh, everything's all better. But I just want to, like, put this out there that, like, anyone and everyone deserves to feel loved. And I feel like you have to love yourself first, truly, before, like, because someone can love you so much, but if you don't love yourself, like, their love isn't gonna fix you. And I feel like that's something, oh gosh, that's something that I was trying to do with you, like, trying to build you, oh god, bitch. Trying to, like, build you up to kind of be like, no, bitch, like, like, you got this, like, you are that bitch. Like, don't forget, Alanis always says, like, fix your crown, queen, like, she always says that. She's always like, fix your crown, queen, like, don't let that shit, like, slide off. But seriously, everyone deserves to feel loved, and if you're not feeling loved, maybe you need to look for it, like, inside of yourself. And it's a process. You just have to, it's a struggle, like, and this is the thing, no one is unlovable. And because I've had those moments, like, growing up when I was younger, like literally, like, fuck, like, maybe I'm just, like, not worthy of it, and, like, that's it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that, like, that really eats away at them, and they end up, like, doing really, like, literally doing things to themselves that, like unaliving themselves, or just physically hurting themselves, or, like, turning to things that, like, is said eventually will kill them. But yeah, just know you're not unlovable. And you are 100% worthy of love.
That one, that hits me, like, and I was like, it's me really hard. Like, the worthy, like, everyone is worthy of love. And there's been, like, you go through a lot of, like, experiences or, like, just situations that you go through in life, and sometimes you do question, like, your worth, like, it's, like, because it's, like, those experiences, whatever, to some persons, it's, like, you were worthless, which is why they done certain things, whatever, and it's, like, but it's, like, no, like, everybody is worthy of love. You are worthy of love. And, again, it's just finding and knowing the value of yourself, and if, like, you know, it's, like, you're valid, like, you know your worth.
If no one has told you recently that you are worthy of anything or valued, like, I'm telling you right now, you are worthy of taking up space. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of any and everything that you've ever wanted. And that's something that I've told you multiple times, like, bitch, like, there have been moments where, like, it's been, like, an emotional, like, roller coaster on both ends. And I have told her, like, bitch, like, if you are not here, like, I would not be able to function, like.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, guys, this one was pretty deep.
Pretty intense.
Pretty intense. But
vulnerable, if you will.
Literally.
Literally.
But yeah, I thought it was just something that it was important. I just wanted to bring up now because I've been like just thinking about this a lot lately. So again, reflecting. But yeah, guys, so I hope, if you guys are comfortable like sharing some of your experiences or what you do for like self-love, whether that's work, whether you're doing something that you love, a hobby, passion, but yeah, so we hope you enjoyed this episode. You got to see, again, a vulnerable side of us and a different side in a different little setting.
Yeah, and just know, like, self-love is a journey.
Yeah.
It's not a destination. Like,
yeah. And for a lot of you that are thinking, like, damn, they got their shit together. Like, clearly, we are working.
Miss Girl, do you not see me fucking crying every other damn episode? Like, my shit is not together. But I think, again, like, I'm just very... I don't know. I think it just comes with like growing up, and again, the life experiences, like it's all part of my journey. So.
Yeah. And in my case, I'm put together, but my life is not together. My life is everywhere. My room is put together. I'm put together. But again, because guys, that's how oh my God, I had read something, but that's just my form of keeping myself freaking sane because my head is spinning at all times and my life is not together. But yeah, guys, so yeah, we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
Remember, you are worthy, you are loved, and you are loved.
Yes,
so,
you are loved.
Just know that.
And you should tell yourself, like, if you have to stand in front of a mirror and say positive affirmations, like, I do that when I'm driving sometimes. Like, I am smart, I am worthy. Everything that I want, I will receive because I am capable.
And even having it, like, as your, your wallpaper.
Oh my gosh.
Everything.
I literally, a bitch got a work phone now.
Yes.
And I took a picture of my screensaver. This was the first thing I did. My screensaver says, no longer feeling guilty for putting myself first.
Period. No, literally.
Literally.
And it's like when she right now that she mentioned, like, if you have to stand in front of the mirror, it reminded me of Sal. Because he has breathe on his mirror, and he's like, every time he's like, take a deep breath, or like, and it just reminds him of like, his business, everything. But even if you have to do that, like, put a sticker like "you are beautiful" or like anything like that, just to remind yourself and give you that like affirmation. But
we're always here for you guys if you need anything. But we hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to comment, subscribe, follow us on IG, follow us on TikTok, everything interact. But we genuinely want to just hear from you. Like, you obviously can share as much or as little as you would like, but we definitely would like to get just to hear a little bit more about like what you guys do for self-love, because maybe you guys are doing something and it's like, oh, I want to try that. I've never thought of that. Let me try that.
Yeah. And again, guys, we are here for you. Thank you for supporting us.
Yes.
And we will see you in our next episode.
Bye.
Bye.